Yo guys, so today we're going to be looking at the M4 Sherman. The M4 Sherman is the Tier 5 American medium tank. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run through the statistics of the tank and then go into a couple games, see how it performs, and let you know my overall opinion. So the M4 Sherman is its predecessor, the M3 Lee, and it is the predecessor to either the M4A3E8 or the M4A3E2. So, the M4 Sherman starts off with 650 hit points, and then when you upgrade the turret, you get 700. Now, the front of the hull armor is 51 at the front, however, it's got good angling, so that can increase the effective thickness. The sides and the rear are both 38. Now, this obviously can be improved if you are side scraping, and that again improves the effective thickness of the armor. Now the turret on all at the front, both sides and the rear is 63mm. At the sides and the rear it's quite easy to pen if you look. However, at the front it's got a little slant at the top that can ricochet rounds, and as well if you get hauled down it's got okay gun depression, so it's got okay armor there, and you just find people can ricochet off you quite often. The tank's got a good speed limit of 48 kilometers an hour. It's not too shabby. However, you don't really get up to it that easily due to your engine power. The gun is you can have a choice of 3 guns. Tier 4, 75mm gun, which I don't think anyone would really pick. Tier 5. Now this one's a bit different. This is its standard rounds are HE, and its premium rounds are heat. Now the problem with these is if you've got spaced armor. If we look at Panzer 40 KOSP, which is a great example, see these little panels on the side and around the turret. Now basically just the HE explodes and it'll do a little bit of damage, and the heat will just completely get absorbed into those panels, and so that's why I personally wouldn't recommend using it. So I wouldn't really recommend using the 105mm. So I would recommend using the 76mm gun or the M1A1. So I've got mine down to, I think I've got a gun rammer on this, yeah, I've got a gun rammer, which increases the rate of fire and my cruise 100. And so I've got my rate of fire down to 8.36 rounds a minute. And so it's okay. It's okay. That's 7.2 seconds between each reload. So the average penetration of this gun is 120 on the standard rounds of AP, 177 on the APCR, and 38 on the HE. However, with all premium rounds, the damage actually goes down to the APCR and the heat for extra penetration. However, with the APCR, the velocity of the rounds, they'll fly quicker, so you don't need to give as much lead to the target sometimes. And the HE is 38mm, but it gives you 200 alpha damage on average per shot. So I think that's about just kind of like the rundown of the tank. So let's get into some gameplay, and then I'll give you my overall review on it. So we're on Black Goldville tier 6, tier 5, we're lower tier. So, the M4 Sherman, if you didn't know, well, first off, here's a little history lesson, okay? The M4 Sherman was primarily used by the Americans in World War II, when they joined, eventually. But they also gave the British some. Now, the M4 Sherman was a big part of D-Day. Not D-Day, but the aftermath of D-Day, and just breaking through enemy lines and eventually winning the war. Now, the M4 Sherman was, along with the T-34 and the Tiger 1, probably the most iconic tanks. As well, it can be the Cromwell, but nah, I don't know, not many people really know it. However, 3 iconic, like if someone were to say name 3 tanks from World War II, they'd probably say the M4 Sherman, the T-34, the Tiger 1. because those were the three main iconic tanks for three big nations in World War II. Now, the problem the Americans had when the Germans introduced the Tiger was the gun on the Sherman. The Sherman's the best gun on it for penetration. The Sherman, its 76mm gun, just wasn't reliably going through the Tiger's armour. So the Allies developed a new tank called the M4 Sherman Firefly, which equipped a bigger high caliber gun. Not 100% sure what it was. And you can see that actually on the M4 Revolution in World of Tanks PC. You can see that gun, and that's the Sherman Firefly. And so, but however, the Allies did have the advantage of mass production. Like, they had more tanks than the Germans. However, the Germans had better quality. Now, where the M4 Sherman Firefly was introduced was North Africa. Oh fuck. It was introduced into So the M4 Sherman Firefly was introduced into North Africa. It was given to a lot of the British battalions to replace the Crusader or the Cromwell. However, one battalion in particular, if you might have heard of them, the Desert Rats, they decided they wanted to keep the Cromwell because they found it was a more mobile tank, and that's what they preferred. Now, you can actually, if you ever have a look closely on the Cromwell Berlin, that's other Cromwell B, you'll see on the back of the tank and the front, you'll see that there's actually a little logo which is it's white and red. And that's the Desert Rats logo, and that's the tank that they used in North Africa. That's what they wanted to keep. So yeah, it's the M4. It's an okay tank. However, and then obviously after D-Day, the Allies used the M4 to break through enemy lines and eventually push the Germans all the way back to Berlin, where they eventually surrendered. Now, as well, now the Allies used more quantity in their tanks, and like reports from German Tiger commanders who were just like on the Eastern Front against the Russians, just they kept killing the T-30, destroying T-34s, but they just never stopped. They kept coming, and that's the advantage and it just eventually wore down the tanks, Tigers, and that's how they won on the Eastern Front. It was basically the same for the Western Front. Just the Allies had superiority numbers, and that would completely demolish the well-made, reliable German Tigers. Fuck right off, okay? So yeah, now the M4 Sherman, it's an okay tank, it's rate of fire, so... Oh, come on, kill him, you dickwad. Now, the M4 Sherman, on a whole, this tank, it's okay. I find its speed is lacking. Just the actual mobility of the tank is lacking, and you can see that this. It's just. It's a bit slow to get into position. However, when it does get into position, it can do a lot of damage, and very effectively. Is that our third fire? Second. No, that's our second. There we go. And so the M4, it's an okay tank. I mean, I really got it because I wanted to obviously progress down the line, but I also wanted to get one of the iconic vehicles of World War II, as well as the T-34, which I probably purchased again for another video if you want to see that one. Oh, I'm gonna stay still, okay, I want to stay the fuck down. Bollocks! And so, the M4 Sherman I would highly recommend getting. It's a very fun little tank. It's always nice to have. Like, this is what the tank commanders drove in World War II, and this is part of machinery that they've won World War II with. So it's always quite cool to have that. I really want to get the Tiger, as well as the T-34. No, oh, I'm getting sidetracked all the fucking time. The M4 Sherman. Definitely get it if you like medium. So, M4 Sherman, its speed's okay, mobility's okay, not the best. I prefer mobility. I would happily sacrifice a bit of its armour for better mobility any day. Its gun's good, real time's okay, alpha damage okay, penetration's okay. On the whole, it's a good tank. It can compete with T6s. So yeah, I would highly recommend getting it. And so, I will see you later.